back, everyone. This is Lisa, spreading love and light, helping anyone here today who is going through a grieving situation because of the loss of a loved one. I apologize for not being here as I wanted to be here earlier part of this week, but it's been a busy week. I have been going to different places looking for a area where I can uh, do a seminar so that I can have people attend, so that we can continue this discussion about grief and inner conflict and healing, and we can do this live because I would love to speak to a lot of you who are going through this situation at the moment. So today we're going to talk about grief and inner conflict. And that is something that comes when we lose a loved one. Many people are experiencing not just losing a loved one, but losing a few right behind one another. And that is so difficult. And I know what that feels like. And I want to continue to have these discussions here because if we're not talking about grief and the pain that we feel behind it, and we're not discussing these emotional feelings that we get after losing a loved one, then we're not never going to heal from it. I know that some of us may have come from a family where we grew up in a situation where it was told to us what happens in this family stays in this family. And that's the old way of things because in order to heal and to get better, you're never going to get over it, as I always say in previous videos. And that's true. You're never going to get over the loss of the loved one, but you can get through it. But the only way to get through it and to heal is to address the elephant in the room instead of working your way around it and pretending it's not there. Believe me, I've done this. And nothing got better until I did the work. Nothing is going to be perfect, but it's going to be better, step by step by step. Now, let's talk about this inner conflict because that comes after losing a loved one. In the beginning, you're going to experience a whole lot of different emotions sadness, anger, whatever affiliation you have with this loved one, they're no longer there. And if you had a close relationship with them, where you spoke with them every day and you were very close, and they're no longer there, you're going to feel that void. Because of that void, you're going to feel all these different emotions. And one of the emotions is the inner conflict. Why, for me, I'll give you an example. Because I lost so many people, including friends during the shutdown, as well as my mother and my dog that I always talk about, I started to get angry, and have these feelings of anger, and mostly towards God. Why are you allowing this to happen? And I went through that for a long time, probably mostly throughout the shutdown. And all of these feelings were surfacing and building up and like a volcano ready to erupt until I decided that I needed to get help. And the help came through grief therapy that I continue to do to this day. Talking to people from grief support groups and just working on myself. And it's not easy. I'm going to tell you today, it's not easy because the healing process involved work, looking at the pain, addressing it, talking about it. Those are the things I had a hard time doing because, as the way I grew up, we just didn't talk about these things. It was an attitude of man up and deal with it. Put on your big girl panties, so to speak, and just deal with it. And that is not healing. That is not a healing process because there's no outlet for this pain. And this is where we're going to talk about it here today. Because there are some people today who are in a depression due to the grief of losing someone. And they're not sharing what feelings they're going through. and they're not reaching out to get the help that they need. So I'm encouraging everyone here today who is hurting and going through whatever emotion that you're feeling at this particular time related to the loss of a loved one, to get the help that you need is so important. And it doesn't make you weak. Believe me, it makes you stronger. And I'm talking from experience. And I still have to do this because there's time from time that I still go through this. Just a few days ago, about my mother, there was something that took place, and I wanted to really talk to her about it. And I was just saying, "Oh God, I can't talk to her about it." And there was things that I was going through, and I might needed, I needed to talk to my mother about, because she gives direction, her input, etc. There's no one to give that to me now. And so what I do, I'm in prayer all the time with God. In the beginning, I was angry with God all the time about everything that was going on here, and saying I don't deserve this, why this is happening. Because it was just loss after loss after loss, and it was just getting to the point where it was too much to bear. But as I did the work that my therapist gave me, and little by little, it starts to get better. Time heals things, even though, you still feel the loss. But now you're at a point where you can cope with it. And always talk about your loved ones to keep that memory alive. Continue to do that. Also, one of the ways to heal is you have to go through the pain. You have to talk about what emotions you're feeling, and find a safe outlet to do that, people. Whether you are a woman listening here today or a male that's listening, it doesn't matter. And to the men who are listening to this video as well, please never feel that you're weak because you lost someone that you love, and you feel like crying and you feel anger. Whatever emotion you are feeling, allow yourself to feel that. I'm telling you from experience. Don't listen to, you're a man, man up, because this person is gone. This person who was a huge part of your life is no longer here. And you're going to feel that void, and you have to let yourself feel it and go through the emotions. And that's how the work begins. And one of the things that I am going to encourage everyone, once again, whatever state you are in, please Google grief counseling in your area and connect with a counselor, so that that's an outlet, and that's the beginning of talking about everything that you're feeling, and going through the pain. And it's not easy. It's not easy. It's going to be work. There's going to be times where you're going to feel okay, and there's going to be times where you don't even feel like getting up out of bed. But it's important to start somewhere. And a grief support group is also important, because you're going to hear stories of other people who are going through the same emotions and feelings that you are, because they also lost loved ones. But the work is important. And don't expect yourself to heal overnight. And don't allow others to tell you that you should be at a place of healing. Everyone's healing process and the work takes time. And we all heal at our own pace. It's just like if we fall off a bike and we get a cut, and that cut, for some people may heal in a couple of days, and for others not until a week or 2 weeks later, whatever the case is. So everyone's growth is at a different time. And don't rush yourself on this. Just let yourself feel what you need to feel and go through the steps. And you don't have to share this with anyone. Just do it for yourself. You don't have to let everyone know what you're doing. That's also important. After the pain and doing the work, then the healing starts to begin. You'll start to feel better. It's going to take time, but you're going to feel better. For me, not only did I start to feel better, but the things I that was important to me once before in the past is no longer important to me. I see life differently now because of these losses. I look at life differently. And I try to live it to the fullest today and do things that make you feel good. Like, if you have a pet, spend time with that pet, go out with the pet, walk, take walks, do things that are going to make you feel good. Because when you start to feel good about the things that you are doing, it's part of the healing process. Also, your loved one do not want you to stay in a state of depression. Allow yourself in the beginning to feel all these different emotions, but don't allow yourself to stay there. Talk about it, move forward, and little by little, you're going to feel better. And address the elephant in the room so that you can move forward. That's so important, to have that outlet, because without the outlet, it will be like a volcano that's erupting. And then, you're at a point where, you feel like you can't handle anything and you never want to be there. So please, little by little, for me, prayer, I stay in prayer with God a lot, you know, very disciplined today in the things that I used to like to do. And when I say like to do, and I'm not talking about anything really bad, just, hanging out a lot, um, socializing a lot. I don't do those things. I'm very careful as to the, how do I say this, who I have in my life today, because it's important that the people who are around me are uplifting me and encouraging me. Anything that has to do with negativity, we all are not perfect, but I'm talking about constant toxicity and negative situations that I would just allow to happen. I no longer do that. And the reason for that is while I was healing, loving on myself as well. Doing things that's important to me, even if it's little things, like going out, getting some flowers for myself, or taking a walk by a lake of water, or just riding somewhere that I've never been in, and that I've never been to before, or trying a new restaurant, and I'm very careful as to, you know, people around me, because it's important, even though others are not going to understand all these emotions that you're going through and how you're feeling, etc. It's important to have someone who can just listen. That's so important, even though they know they can't do anything about it because the loved one is gone now. But they are an outlet where they can just hear what you're going through at that particular moment. If you have someone like that in your life, then access that, because all of that is part of the outlet, and the pain, and then the healing to get better. Once you start to feel better little by little and heal, then be that testimony to somebody else to help them, because everyone do not know, how to do this, and sometimes they need a shoulder to lean on. So be that outlet for that person and help them to get through it, especially since you know what it feels like, because firsthand you have experienced this, and that's very important. All of these things that I've gone through, I think about, everything happening all at once, like a domino effect. It reminds me of what happened to Job in the Bible. I mean, he had lost everything. He was stripped of everything. He was very wealthy in the beginning, had so much and friends, etc. And then all of a sudden, everything was gone, to the point where his wife told him to cuss God and die. And he didn't know why he was going through those things. But what doesn't kill you will make you stronger. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. And as he continued to not just have his faith in God, but to continue to move forward, no matter how bad things were, things got better. And later on, as he healed, he gained more than what he had before. And then what I'm trying to say here is that all of what you lost due to grief, due to loved ones passing away, etc. What does when it makes you stronger and you heal from it, you can be that source for somebody else to help them because your story can help somebody else. And this is another reason why I'm here today to help somebody else. And especially if you feel like you're alone, because there are going to be times that you feel alone um, as you go through this grief and these different feelings that you probably haven't experienced all at once. But know that you're not alone, that other people have gone through this, and that there are places where you can go to get the help that you need. And we all need help. It's nothing to feel ashamed about. Believe me, I needed a whole lot of help as I went through this. And there are times still today that I cry my eyes out because of certain things. But it's different now because, as you know, my youngest sister would say to me as I was going through all this, Mom would never ever want you to stay in a place of depression. And that's true. And I'm saying to all those who are listening to this video, your loved ones would never want you to stay in a place of depression and where you're not getting better. And you just, it's okay to feel that because that's a void, but not to stay in that place, to heal it. And, self love on yourself. The little things that you like doing during a time, do them. And that's, and it's also important to take care of your mental health as well as your physical health. Surround yourself with beauty and good things. That's important. I am still working on a place to do a seminar, and I will give you the information as soon as I do have a place. But I'm thinking about in May, in a month of May, and then I will tell you how to RSVP for that and hope that you can attend. I promise to have food and coffee and things so that people can, have something to eat while they're there and we can continue this conversation. So thank you for listening to this video today. Please go out and share this with someone. Go out, but please share, subscribe this with this video and like, because it's important to help others, because someone out there is hurting and in isolation and depression, and they need to hear this message today because this is how we begin a healing process. Thank you for listening to Lisa. Love and light to you all. And everyone, have a great weekend. I will be back in a few days with a new message. Stay safe and bye for now. Thank you for listening. I appreciate you all.